Today we're going to discuss a SIM swap incident that was detected by the OneLayer system. In the example we'll discuss today, we have utility 1 allowing utility 2 to bring their own devices into utility 1 network. In this case, an iPad Pro 11 was brought into utility 1 network, and what happened is that a SIM that is owned by utility 1 for some reason appeared in the iPad Pro of utility 2. Now, naturally, it makes sense that utility 1 will provide utility 2 with SIMs, but it does not necessarily make sense to see an existing SIM from utility 1 network suddenly appearing in utility 2 device. So, with that said, let's examine the different details that we have regarding each and every device so we better understand the situation. Let's look at the action camera of utility 1. So the system is loaded, and now we see all the information about the LG action camera. When we look at the camera, we can see all the different identities associated with the camera, with the most important identity for our scenario being the IMSI. The IMSI is associated with the SIM of the action camera, and if we see the same IMSI in a different device, it means that someone moved this particular SIM to the other device. Another thing we can notice is that the device is currently offline, and if we'll take a deeper look at the device historical data, we'll see that starting 4 p.m., the device is no longer in our network, and no data was streamed from that particular device. Now let's go and take a look at the other device, the iPad of utility 2. So the very first thing we can see about the iPad is that the OneLayer score is unsafe. This is because we're not aware of this device, and we need to learn more about it. As we can see, while the device does have a different IP and a different IMEI, the IMSI remained the same. Similarly, we can see that starting 4 p.m., exactly when the other device became offline, this device, the iPad, started streaming data. Now let's take a deeper look at the data itself. So I'm now in our traffic logs. Let's filter only the relevant IMSI to see the traffic. Perfect. What we can see here is that for the device ending with IP86, which is the camera, there is a rule associated to the traffic that lets the camera send the traffic. However, if we look at this traffic, the one streamed from device with IP ending at 19, we see there is no rule associated with the traffic, and there's a lot of data that's currently being streamed from that device to an IP destination we're not familiar with. So probably the right thing to do will be to investigate the traffic, and in the meantime, to stop this device from streaming more data. So let's do exactly that through the policy window. We're now looking at the policy window. Let's set a rule that will limit the traffic of the iPad. So I'm adding a rule. I will set the action to block, and we'll configure the rule accordingly to be a SIM swap isolation. I'll do it to the specific IP address of the iPad and set the destination to any. And now we have the rule set. What this rule will ensure is that no traffic from the source of 10.1.0.19, the iPad of utility 2, will be able to stream data to any other device in our network. Let's save this rule and publish the changes. So now the rule is set. Let's wait a little bit and see if there is more traffic attempting to leave iPad 2 that was now blocked because the rule exists. It's been some time, and now we'll want to take a deeper look at the iPad to see if it kept on streaming data. So let's find our tablet. There it is, the 10.1.0.19 iPad Pro. So first, we can see that the score rose to 69, and the device is now considered to be balanced by our system. And secondly, we can also see that even though the device is online, starting 5 p.m., because we blocked traffic coming out of the device, there is nothing coming out. So let's see if that is indeed the case, and let's look at the data. Perfect. So now we see all the traffic associated with this specific iPad, and we can see that this is indeed the case. We can see that before we set the alert, around 4 p.m., traffic was still leaving the device, but starting 5 p.m., around the time we set the rule, all the traffic that was attempting to leave the device was blocked by the system, and nothing actually left the device. So this allows us to continue our investigation and check whether we intended to actually move the SIM from the action camera to the iPad, or if this is a mistake. In addition to that, we also ensure that even if it wasn't a mistake, and this was in fact a malicious attempt, no harm was done to the network. Thank you.